Thank you, Marie, on behalf of me and Paula. Yes, we are husband and wife, and so imagine the the shop talk that goes on when we're both agile coaches. And the great news about that is that we both are very passionate about that, and we can even be on a hike and hopefully not talking about shop all the time, but we love doing a lot together, and we have really accelerated our learning by collaborating so closely. So today or this evening, what we're going to talk about is some agile games and actually a little bonus, some tools that we've created that are all web-based. They're all free. I'll send you the link here in a moment. And really the purpose of the games is all about either learning things, reinforcing some concepts, whether it's the Scrum values, or helping people to understand where there might be blind spots, whether you're at the leadership level or the team level or individuals. And so, gameplay is a great way to break down some barriers, especially as we'll see, because we're going to go into breakout rooms and do it in small groups. These games have been used in formal trainings. They've been used in retrospectives. And we've gotten great feedback on them. And so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. And Paula, the host disabled participant screen sharing, so you better enable that for me, please. All right.
There you go.
Now you made me the host, so hopefully that means that you can create those breakout rooms when we need to.
No,
I think no, only the host can do the breakout rooms. That's why she was host.
Yeah.
But as a co-host, you should be able to share.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, Paula, I didn't really need to be host.
Can you make me co-host or make me host?
Yeah, one sec.
My name.
All right. Okay, you're host once again.
Perfect.
Let's see, the share, is it? I think I'm sharing the wrong thing here, though.
You're sharing Let's Play. Welcome to Saberwise.
Oh, you are seeing that. Good. Okay. And so while you're seeing that, where's the chat here? Let me find what happened to my chat.
It's probably up top, right?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay. So while Paula's, well, yeah. Okay, so we're good to go. And so this is our website that we created, we maintain and host. And so I've just posted the URL to this site, so that you should probably just capture that. And again, everything is free here. And so we originally had some language here that wasn't so clear that it was free, because you might see the word subscribe. There's a commercial website, saberwise.com, for whenever Paula or I are trying to be independent consultants and trying to make a go of that. So what we have there is if you want to subscribe to new information, but that's not necessary to play the games. You don't need to subscribe to anything. You're on this site, you're 100% good to go. So let's just take a little overview here. So there is an overview of the games, but I'll kind of talk through that. And if you're having trouble seeing that, the games will be nice and big. So the games that we have are mindset matching, scrum values, scrum roles, and cards against agility. And then there's a couple of tools around agile estimation, and I'll dive into that as a little bit later. But what we're going to do is we're going to play mindset matching and scrum values in breakouts. I'll just mention that scrum roles is very similar. These first three games, the way you play them are identical. So you'll see that Cards Against Agility, and you can guess, is based on Cards Against Humanity. And it's meant to be irreverent. The first time that one of Paula's teams played it, the feedback was it wasn't irreverent enough. So on our
We were a rowdy crew.
yeah, on our backlog is to create a more irreverent set of cards. I just haven't gotten around to that. So, but whenever we do that, we'll allow you to configure what, how much the irreverence, how much irreverence you want. Okay, so let's come into mindset matching. So mindsets, you're all familiar, of course, with the Agile mindset, as we call it. More formally, though, Carol Dweck from Stanford University introduced the fixed and growth mindsets. That was maybe 15, 18 years ago. She wrote the book after years of research. And then another couple of academic researchers came up with the benefit mindset a few years ago. And so we've added that as well. We think that's a great one, especially in today's world where looking beyond in yourself or looking beyond the company to your community to the world, so taking a larger view. So, but let's just go over these very quickly, and then we'll play the game. So the fixed mindset, these are people that they kind of seek perfection. They avoid failure. They really try to stay within their comfort zone. And we've all met those types of people. And here's the thing, though, is that in different parts of your life, you may show up with a different type of mindset. So it's just like it's always an oversimplification to say, oh, well, that person's this or that person's that, and we're labeling them in a blanket labeling. That's not right. You may be in one part of your life someone that is got a fixed mindset, and maybe because of some childhood experience, but in other areas you may have more of a growth or benefit mindset. So keep that in mind. So the growth mindset are really everyday learners, people that are always striving to learn and grow. They're focusing on improving how we do, and they're looking for higher levels of achievement, embracing that kind of experimentation mindset, quick learning cycles and all that. So that would, when we talk about the Agile mindset, that growth mindset is really what that kind of maps into for the most part. The benefit mindset is these are everyday leaders, whatever level they're at. They serve the well-being of all. They're focusing on who we are being and why we do what we do. And they're really engaged as a global citizen. And I'll just give one quick example. We can think of multiple people, and as you play the game, you'll come up with it, but not in the game. The company that I work for, IHS Markit, when the pandemic hit, our CEO had to do about a 4% RIF of the workforce. And well, it gets better though. The good news is he gave 1 year severance to everybody who got RIFed.
Wow.
And I don't think you've heard that anywhere else. With a caveat, if you found another job, of course, it didn't go on, but you had up to a year of severance, including all of your benefits, including stock that was going to vest, you name it. So amazing. Okay, so the way this game is played is that you'll see here, this shows that there's a built-in list, and there are some cards here and there's paradigms. And Paula, what was the other kind of card? Do you remember?
Scenarios.
Yes, and scenarios. Thank you. So what you'll basically, when you break out, you're going to read that, and you're going to, and most of these are quotes for this game, and you're going to try and say, well, what does this map into? Which mindset? And it leads to good discussion. Just like with a lot of things in Agile, a lot of the value is from the discussion, not so much whether it's the right answer or not. And you'll see that with Scrum values even more. I want to show you one thing real quickly, though, before I forget, because otherwise I might. And that is that you're going to, as you play these games, you might say, well, I'd love to add another card, or I'd like to change the order, or I'd like to tweak it a little bit. Well, you can do that. So all you got to do is come over here and you register creating an account just with an email address, either with Google or any other username and password. And so I'm going to come in here. Let's see. This is my work computer, so it's not. It's not cached like it normally would be. Hopefully that's going to work. Okay, so if you actually register and log in, you actually get to a My Content site, and you can choose your game. So if I came to Mindset Matching, you can create a custom list. You can either clone an existing one, or you can add a new list. So the easiest thing to do would be to clone. I'm sorry, that's not what you want to do. You want to add a list. I'm sorry. You would want to add a list, and then you could clone an existing list. So you could take the built-in list, and then you could actually add it, and then it loads the list as it is. And then you can reorder, you can remove cards, you can scroll down the bottom, you can add cards. So you can, and then you can save that custom list, and then whenever you log back in, that's your own. You've got it forever. It'll be there. So that's customization. Okay. So Paula, have you created the breakout rooms?
I did.
Okay. So what's going to happen then is that as soon as Paula sends you to your breakout room, have somebody be the facilitator, and the facilitator needs to pull up the website, the saveawisegames.com, and then come here to Mindset Matching. You don't need to sign in. You're just going to use the built-in list. And then one by one, you'll just pull up the card and go around the group, have somebody read the card, and then say where they think it should go. And wherever you think it goes, you just drag it over. And then,
Okay.
and then there's discussion around it. And sometimes you might say, well, it's kind of a combination of both. Well, maybe you put it between them. Sorry, you can't put it between fixed and benefit. It's not infinite flexibility, although I've had that request. User, you can't satisfy them all. Okay, any questions on that? I think it's fairly straightforward how to play. So you don't worry about getting through all of the cards. Paula, how long should we go? How long do you think?
About 15 minutes.
Okay.
20.
Yeah, 15 I think is good, because we'd like to get through 2 and then have a little bit of time. So we'll do 15 minutes. So, and are you gonna do a timer or anything?
Yeah.
Let's just say it's 6:40 basically by the time you get in there. So we'll say 6:55 will be the end. So Paula, please send people to
Press
their
the button.
room. Send you to your room. Paula and I will pop in and out of rooms. Hello there. You guys not in breakout rooms, right? You guys are muted too. Hey, Marie. One room that Paula was in, somebody was able to share. So I'm not sure what's going on. But I would say that if most rooms they're not able to share, then we need to just bail on the breakouts. And you're on mute.
I jumped into a breakout just to see what was going on. And Nancy was leading it actually, and she was asking the questions and the other people were on their phones. So,
So Amalia and I went to a breakout room and we could do nothing.
yeah, we're just like running into this and we're going, huh.
Okay, so why don't we do this? For those breakout, well, can you send a message to everyone? Are you able to do that, Marie?
I believe I can. Hold
And
on,
just
wait.
say, if you're in a breakout room where you're not able to share, come back. And then for those who can't, we're going to do it right here.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and share.
I think when we were sending messages to everyone was only the person from the breakout room. So when
Yeah,
it's-
so we were asking for help and it was saying the host was either busy with someone else. And if we posted in the chat, we got nowhere. So it's real frustrating.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to broadcast to everyone. So if you're in a breakout room and things are not working, please leave the room and we will do this in the main room.
And do I need to have, because I can't share right now, would I have to have Paula give me that?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
she's got the power.
Okay, hang on.
Huh. Sorry about that, guys.
that's
No, no,
okay.
no.
We were just experimenting and we said like, okay, let's just send a message to everyone, but everyone was just me and him. Because it breaks it down by the room. So we couldn't
It
send
does.
until we left the room.
Yes, that's so true. Actually, yeah, we were just playing with that earlier with an event that I was helping with. But anyhow, yeah, unfortunately. But some people are being creative. Like some people like jumped on phones and did other things. So and they're not sharing their rooms. They're are not sharing the screens, but they're making things work. So I was trying to jump in and out of rooms just to see what they're doing, but not sure why this is a problem. But anyhow, Rich.
I am
I'll
waiting
let you take
for
it away.
Paula to, I ran up there and she has not given me. Are you able to share?
I am not. Oh, yes, I can.
Then you can, why don't you go ahead and share?
Oh my God, my embarrassing, here's my notes. Okay, where am I going?
SEVAWI, yeah, Save-A-Wise Games, put games after that and then .com. Without a space, yeah.
Okay,
Good.
folks, this is the real experience because I haven't been here yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then go to Games and Tools. And then Mindset Matching. And then select the built-in list. Perfect. All right.
okay.
So here we go. So who wants to read the first card?
I'll go. So in my whole life, I have known no wise people who didn't read all the time. None. Zero.
So which mindset do you think that's
So I
associated?
feel like I think that's fixed. Lots of absolutes in there.
Let's play the game this way. Whoever reads the card gets the first shot at what they think, and then we'll rotate through.
Okay, so as the reader, this is John. I think actually that's growth mindset because even though it seems like it's leaning fixed mindset, to me it speaks to the purpose of growth, basically trying to strive and grow.
Okay.
So if
Anybody
I
else?
move it over.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because some people read that and it sounds so closed that it's like, then, and they think fixed, but I think the intention of that was growth. So
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Go.
I saw this quote again posted on LinkedIn today
Nice.
as a hint.
I refuse to believe that you cannot be both compassionate and strong. So the way that I read this, I think that fits with the benefit mindset of being able to see that people can be both compassionate and strong. And that focuses on much more of like why we do what we do.
So anybody have a guess as to what world, you can go ahead and drag that. Anybody have a guess as to what world leader might have said that? Jacinda Ardern. Do you know who that is?
I
Prime
don't.
Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yes, should look her up. The first woman to deliver a baby, to go be pregnant and deliver a baby while in running a country.
Oh,
In a
okay.
pandemic.
I know who she is.
Yeah.
I'll go next then. Paradigm, I'm not the boss because I'm always right. God, this sounds like me. I'm always right because I'm the boss. No, I'm kidding. I would basically say that's a fixed mindset. But I'm not really good at this, so
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, it seems pretty
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's pretty hardwired.
Yeah. Okay, another scenario. Mark, I'm going to pick. Oh, sweet. Who else? Who hasn't gone yet? We've got a couple people. I didn't know how many people we had. Oh, we got a bunch of people. All right, people, don't make me call your name.
Hi, this is Amalia. So like on the scenario, I do the same thing. I have to match it to the card, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you read it and then, yeah.
Okay, describe a time where you saw a leader take action that positively impacted their employees during a time of crisis.
And you don't get to use my example.
I won't. I didn't read LinkedIn today, so I'm not sure. I wasn't.
Well, no, that was what I talked earlier about my CEO. LinkedIn was the Jacinda Ardern quote. I saw that again today.
I would say growth mindset.
Okay, and do you have an example?
So,
Leader take positive action.
this is history now.
Do you mind if you had additional input?
Additional input would be like it's I think of back like the kings in the war. When it's about a country falling down, it's like, okay, we need to go to war or not, because otherwise we're going to lose our territory. So it's towards the growth of the people and the whole country. So that's why that's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, and I guess we could generalize that. So it wouldn't just have to be employees, right? Because it's a leader.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking more into history wise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll modify that a bit. Or you can customize.
I'm going to just think of some Roman Empire.
So Rich, help me out here. So as we're working through this mindset matching, if you have maybe a difference of opinion on a card,
Mhm.
As a facilitator, what do you do? I mean, how are you working through this?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would say after the person read the card and gave their opinion, then I would say, does anybody else have a different opinion?
Mhm. And
that way we can have a little discussion around it, because and I think what you'll see with Scrum values, that'll come in a lot. These are meant to be a little more clear, but there will even be some like that very first card we saw. So that's kind of how I do it when I'm facilitating. just kind of invite others to kind of chime in after the first person has spoken. I'm kind of fond of this person, so let's get through maybe one more here.
Okay.
Somebody want to do this card?
I'll do it. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. To me, that's kind of a growth mindset, because really talking about not being limited by your past, continuing to strive to continue to develop.
Okay, anybody, any guesses as to whose quote that is?
Sounds like Einstein to me, Albert Einstein, but he has a different way of saying that, obviously. But
You nailed it, actually.
Mhm.
You nailed it. Look at that. Wow.
He usually says you can't. It's basically insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So
Right.
that's what this reminded me of, right?
Okay, we got to do one more. I love this one.
Okay. Next, who wants to jump on this one?
This is a fun one. Come on.
Okay, I have little patience for folks just riding along, so I'm going to jump in. Paradigm. I believe the Earth must be flat. There's no good evidence to support the so-called round Earth theory. This is obviously a fixed mindset.
And by the way, we didn't make these up. We found these on the internet. So, you know, there must be something to it if it's on the internet.
Nice.
Let me tell you what, you guys play one more while I'm going to run upstairs and tell Paula to pull people out. So you got another minute while I run up.
Sounds good. Okay, we have one more. Who wants to take this one? Somebody that hasn't done one, maybe. Oh, I hear a microphone. All right, I'll do it. Paradigm. You should never regret anything in life. If it's good, it's wonderful. If it's bad, it's experience. I love that. I would say that's growth mindset.
I agree. I concur.
I would agree with that as well.
Cool. Okay. How about one more? Which we might as well just do it again.
Until everybody comes back, we can keep going, right?
Right. We're going to have to leave the room anyhow. So.
Well, no, we're in the main room.
Oh, right. You're so right. I keep forgetting that. Okay. Sounds good.
I'll read it. Try not to
Perfect.
become a woman of success, but
Thank
rather try to become a woman of value.
It was a direct quote. Otherwise, we would have made it more political.
I changed those quotes. I have a Lao Tzu and I put her.
I love it.
Anybody? Anybody?
Would we see a
Bueller?
benefit mindset?
Can you say that again? You think it's benefit, did you say?
Yeah,
And why we do what we do.
because it is more towards value,
Mhm.
not towards my own success.
Yeah, I think benefits.
I think I agree with you. It's like talking about the man of value, and you're looking at the well-being of others and all, right? When you're looking at the benefit mindset. Any other thoughts on that one?
No, complete agreement on that.
Okay. How about the next one? I think it's fairly easy.
Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the earth. There's no place to go.
Is it fixed?
You think?
In July, Jeff Bezos and his brother are going up into near Earth orbit. So they actually believe that you can't.
Very cool. Looks like, are people now joining? Let me see.
I guess there. Paula, did you boot everybody out?
Well, so I just came back to check in because you said 7:50 and now it's 7:59. So should I go back to my, tell me to go back to my room? or
Paula,
to-
you have the power to
All
just,
breakout rooms will close in 51 seconds.
there you go.
Okay.
And everyone could have got that message if they're in a breakout room. All
So
right.
this was very unusual. We usually host this ourselves, and when we do, we can give co-hosts together. We can give people the ability to share. So I don't know what happened,
I know that's really weird because I made you the host and
but I didn't have the option to allow people to either be a co-host or to share.
Now it's not letting me go back to room 3 to tell my colleagues.
Well,
That,
you don't need to. They're going to be
Well,
they're going to be booted out in a few seconds.
yeah, I know.
Everyone's going to be
I didn't
booted.
want them to think I was being rude.
No, and this is Anna, Monica. I'm in.
Oh,
And Monica, I'm here too.
Oh,
So
good. Yay.
our giant breakout room of 3.
They came looking for you, Monica. You can't hide.
Well, and that explains why the button was there to join room 3 where we were, but didn't know you guys joined. And it was like the button disappeared. And I'm like, I'm tired of buttons disappearing today.
Okay, it looks like everyone's back. And so apologize for the little bit of technical difficulties. What Paula was just saying, if you just came back, is that when we've hosted with our own Zoom account, the co-host has been able to give people the ability to share.
Oh.
And somehow that was a different experience than what we. And so the lesson learned, quick instant retro, is always test ahead of time, even when you think it's going to work, right? If anything has changed, right? You know what we like to talk about, Paula and I learned a lot of this from Paula last year because she was learning from the business agility leaders around the world, getting certified and all this. And one of the things that we talk about now is socio-technical systems. You know, when we talk about complexity, Connecticut framework and all that, and that could be a whole other talk. No, I didn't just invite us to go to another one.
Okay. Opening up our calendar and looking for watches.
We actually, we wouldn't mind. We'd love to do that sometime down the road. So ping us maybe a little later this year.
Sounds perfect.
But we talk about socio-technical systems. And so different technologies, which we've just seen, and now you throw people in the mix. Oh my gosh, that's somewhere between complexity and chaos. So we had a little bit of chaos here. We had to do a little triage. So thanks for bearing with us. And Paula, I think it would make sense to not break out and have the same kind of bad experience again when we play our next game. While we'll, maybe not everybody will have the opportunity to speak up, at least everyone will experience the game, right? So,
Right.
Okay, if everyone's, and Paula, I'm still disabled. I'm still disabled from being able to share. So either do you want to share, or do you want to give it? If that's the easiest, then why don't you just share and then go to Scrum values.
Right. So let's go to Scrum values. Like the man said. This one is one of my favorites because I've actually been able to use it really successfully when there were dysfunctions on my team and I was a Scrum Master between different members of the team. And by playing this game, I didn't have to say anything to anyone. It was like just refocusing everyone on our common shared values made a really big difference. So when there was tension between two ladies, for example, QA engineer, PO, I broke out this game in a retrospective, didn't say anything to anyone, and we talked about these values. And I swear people go away after this and they think about it. Am I doing that? So it's a very gentle nudge. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the built-in list. This, just like the previous game, allows you to customize the game. And then we ask everybody And I like to ask people to take turns so nobody can hide. We ask people, what they think as far as what behavior would go with what value. So for example, Marie, have a clear role on the team and clear goals within that role. Where would that belong?
I would say focus. And
I would
also
agree.
kind of,
Anybody have another?
No?
Yeah, I think
I agree with focus.
I think open.
kind of commitment too, but maybe in between.
I would say respect.
Could it be courage?
I was thinking commitment.
Not sure what that one meant. Focus or commitment or openness. So lots of interesting choices. Oh, let's play story points. Why did somebody say courage?
No, it was my bad. Actually, I was looking at have no fear. I was looking at different cards.
Oh,
Okay. Why did somebody say respect?
I said that because it's respecting the role and what the role is meant to do and the boundaries of that role.
I love that. Great reason. Why did somebody say focus?
I said focus, just looking at from the person's perspective. You have a clear role to play on the team, and you focus on that role and the clear goals within the role.
Nice.
And I would say it creates clarity.
Yep.
And Paula, I was thinking with openness that flexibility, agility to say that person needs to switch to another role, then they're also switching, they're being open and they're flexible in embracing the values. So if let's say they know C# and they know Python, they can, if they need to go swing back and forth, like hopefully they just do one, they can do it and they're open to doing it.
Or you're a scrum master without a product owner. There you go.
Yeah.
That never happens. Have no fear to raise impediments or block issues on a daily basis. Oh, have no fear to raise the impediments or blocking issues you're experiencing in the daily stand-up on a daily basis. If you
I was referring
Correct.
to
Courage.
Courage.
Correct.
All right.
Courage and commitment. Commitment too.
I would say,
Oh,
I was thinking openness.
oh, funny. This is amazing.
Where did the game go, Paula?
Did I just break your game?
There you go.
No, there we go. We're good.
I don't know what you did.
I don't know. Gremlins. Okay. Respect.
Courage, commitment, openness.
Courage, commitment.
Oh, and you can do multiple ones. That's great.
I wish. We need to change things.
It's a glitch that is great.
Backlog item. He's not even looking. He's not even answering. Anti-pattern. An anti-pattern is something that happens often inadvertently and causes more problems than it solves, but it looks like a solution. So this one is not directly communicating with team members when there are issues. So this is where, gossip, rumor, we have a problem with someone, but we're not really communicating with them directly. So what does this sound like?
I would say it would fall between this and respect.
Agreed.
I would
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe both of these?
Both of them.
Openness and respect. Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's unanimous. Be present and focused in all meetings.
Respect. Focus.
Respect.
And commitment too.
Focus.
Yeah. I was thinking commitment too.
Commitment, focus, respect. I think you're all right.
Yeah. True.
Respect your team members.
Start and end meetings on time.
Respect.
Respect.
Focus.
too.
I think respect and focus. Be open about the work in progress, the learnings and problems the team faces.
Obviously, openness.
Openness.
That was kind of,
And then that might take some courage too, to share that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
Good
True.
point.
Very true.
I have always done it that way.
Courage,
Respect.
Openness.
openness.
Courage and openness.
Yes, I think openness.
Mm.
Not willing to.
I think it's a commitment to always do it that way.
Is it fixed mindset?
Wait,
Oh,
is
wait,
there
it's the wrong
current
game.
sarcasm in here somewhere?
Okay.
Just kidding.
You're right, it's in the wrong game. To collaborate across disciplines and skills, share feedback, and learn from one another. I love this one. This is my favorite.
Respect for sure.
Openness.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of between those two.
Okay, helping other teams occasionally is one thing.
Yeah.
Regularly not working on things, causing yourself to be a blocker, and helping other teams because that's more interesting is another. That's what we're
Focus.
talking about here.
Focus,
So lack
focus,
of focus,
focus,
yeah.
I say lack of focus too.
And commitment.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Commitment
Yep.
to your team.
True.
And respect for your
And
team.
respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking.
You know, you need
Yes.
to, you know, once, wait, I'm gonna be the anti-pattern in the group. So
Go out. Go out.
let me ask you something. So at some point in time, as a Scrum Master, and we get our teams organized, what's your commitment to the service of the company? It's to go help other teams, right? So isn't that the courage to do the job that you're doing? Is it your commitment to help and grow outside yourself?
But what if it ends up impacting the team's commitment for the sprint?
So I guess
What if
that's
it's
what
the
you're
right thing to
saying.
do?
Doing it to a fault, I think, is the
Yeah.
anti-pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe because it's an anti-pattern as opposed to just saying helping other
Right.
people is other teams. We should always be looking to help other teams, not at the expense of your team, though.
Mhm.
Right.
It was worded intentionally to be a little provocative, so I'm glad we provoked you.
I think it's the black. If it would have been like purple, I would have kind of.
Okay, right, your request to change colors. Item. Willing to create realistic goals and stick to them.
Commitment.
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 Courage.
I think courage too.
Focus.
I could see courage a little bit, especially the realistic part.
Yes.
I still think it's commitment because you
Yeah.
have to understand what you're like, what's realistic to
All right.
do.
Right.
Well, let's look at the pictures. What's the only one that has a stick in its hand?
Nice. Very nice.
It's stick to them, not stick it to them.
I think it's a sword.
Yeah.
It's Legos. It's got to be a stick.
It probably is. Word. How about working on one thing at a time?
Focus.
Focus.
Commitment as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, culture can really impact that one. Okay, never mind.
Squirrel.
Reworking the code for your colleague. Like
Oh,
going behind them and doing their job. What's that?
Respect.
I think respect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lack of respect.
I think it'll also take a certain amount of courage to actually
Courage,
step up
right.
and say that
Yeah.
the code needed to be rewritten and not just
Just
doing
let
it.
mind. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, and but
Again, this
yes,
is an
and
anti-pattern.
but never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say.
No, I mean, I think that Teddy had a good point that sometimes people may feel a lack of courage, and so they'll just go ahead and do it.
Right. Agreed.
Trust the Scrum framework to guide how to complete the work needed to satisfy the requirements of the product.
That's a fantasy.
Yeah,
what that is.
Hey now, butterflies and rainbows.
Actually, this is not right because the Scrum absolutely has gaps. And a framework, by definition, means that it's kind of an outline. It doesn't tell you everything. So this card needs to go.
Yeah, and they actually say that in the Scrum guide.
That's gotta go. Individuals are shaped by their backgrounds and their experiences. It is important to accept different people who comprise the team.
Respect.
Or openness too.
Openness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Openness too.
Okay. Ooh, holding on to relevant knowledge, keeping it to yourself. My pretty, my precious, my precious.
Openness.
Openness is not being.
Courage. Yeah, openness and courage.
Yeah.
You know.
They both.
Yeah, information hoarding is a fear-based behavior.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
There's not a commitment to the team.
Yep.
Yep. That's true too.
Yep.
You almost need to be able to put dots on the card for each of these categories instead of the other way around.
Ooh,
Color
very good design choice.
Feature enhancement.
I like that. Adding new stories to the iteration backlog without talking to anyone, you know, just
Respect.
Lack of respect.
lack of commitment probably is going to affect focus.
You know, it'd be actually really cool, and I've had one drink down, but if you change the color, if you change the colors of the cards to be like more primary colors, if you can pick them, make the color change based on the that's stupid. Moving on.
Okay, wait, I gotta
Cool
put something.
idea, unless it's
That was cool.
By the way, I did take a note for an enhancement to allow you to customize the colors of the cards, because that would be very easy.
Nice.
So that doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, but it'll be in the backlog. We know what happens to things that just go in the backlog.
They get worked. They get worked.
Okay,
if
And we
we're
also-
talking about value, Rich, then I think then the more valuable backlog item was the ability to have colors on the cards so that on these values, like so that we could identify that these cards relate to. I didn't get that right.
No, but
That requirement clear.
yeah, but the only thing about that is that right now you're dragging it, and so it would almost like eliminate the whole dragging thing, because what you're saying is instead you'd be dragging like a C or an F or an O or an R.
Right.
Oh shoot, there's two C's.
Right.
Anyway,
We can copy the cards and move them like really quickly, be able to do a copy and then move them.
Or you could play with primary and secondary and tertiary colors. So if they actually do overlap, they could become a secondary or tertiary color.
Yeah, that's where I was going, Sherry. But I was like, and then I just kind of like, that's hard.
Too many analysts.
So here's
being an artist, not an analyst. I'm being an artiste.
And I appreciate that.
Here's
It's
my
beauty.
here's my ask for all of you. If any of you play this and you do come up with what you think is a better design,
so
let us know.
What if there was, you dropped it on the color that you wanted to, and you clicked, and it put a bubble on the card. So the color of the card you can see matches the backgrounds. So you could potentially have 5 little dots, and so you just color code them to the cards. I don't know if it would be
By way of little dots. So maybe there'd be like 3 different color dots on one card.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could have 5 colored dots if you think it's every one of them.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, here's another thought. What if your
I like
stack
that.
of cards? What if your stack of cards was underneath in the middle, and the top card is the one that matters at the time, and you draw lines to each of the things that it relates to. Then when you click for next card, it erases, puts the next card in that spot, and then you can draw lines again. Because we're never going back, right, and looking at where we put things. It's
Are we
really just
not?
a one-time categorization.
I get it. So you put the card like in the middle.
Right.
And you could just click on these that you think it matches.
Oh, that would be
Automatically
beautiful.
draws
Dave,
lines.
Dave, rocking it, dude.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm gonna question why we would not go back and look at that.
Well, each time you play the game, you kind of do one card at a time.
Right.
And so it's not likely you're going to go back because, you might play it again, but I don't think anybody's, we don't have any project managers taking notes and then,
Ouch.
That was a dig at project managers. I can't help myself.
He was the PMO director, so don't let that put you off.
See, I get to say that because I was a PMO director. By the way, there is a nice little reset button. Do you want to hit that, Paula?
Yeah.
Bottom left. So if you want to reset and play the game again. I want to just real quickly, we're not going to play Scrum roles, but would you open it up, Paula? There's something I just want to show here. Who has not read the Scrum Guide 2020?
Nobody's going to volunteer.
I started and did not finish.
Well, it's similar.
There you go, Maya.
Okay, so for those who did read it, enough to look at this and say, what did I update to correspond to the new language in the Scrum and the 2020 Scrum Guide?
I gotta put my Marie and I are.
I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta read this small print. What?
Developers.
Bingo.
Yep.
Yes. Remember, it used to be a development team. And now
But you-
developers is now a generic term for all the people who do the work.
Oh, wow.
But you did not swap out accountable for responsible.
Ooh.
And Scrum Masters should be true leaders who serve.
What was that?
What's
True
that?
leaders who serve is Scrum Masters. Instead of servant leaders, it's true leaders who serve.
Where does it say servant leaders though?
Yeah, where does it
It
say?
no longer is servant leadership.
I know, but it doesn't say that.
Oh, but it doesn't say that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah.
So I should replace the word responsible with accountable everywhere? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's a start. They actually rewrote. They rewrote the language a little bit to fit accountable, because they're now accountabilities versus responsibilities. And then the way that they've written it says that, the Scrum Master is accountable for blah, 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 that kind of thing.
All right, I'll look that.
Thank you.
I'll read that up. Yeah. See.
Is that our subject matter expert from Scrum Alliance?
Feels like it.
There you go.
I
So
love my SMEs.
I
Well-
don't know if I'm an SME, but I am from Scrum Alliance. Yes.
So Teddy, I mean, you got to give us credit. We actually read the Scrum Guide somewhat.
Yes,
Did
absolutely.
and
We'll
updated.
probably have to read it again.
Yeah, well, obviously one reading's not enough, but at least we got the roles right?
Yeah. I'll give you all the invisible credits I have.
All right. So why don't we, Paula, can you make me the host so that I can, because I'd kind of like to go through a few minutes just on the tools.
Yes. Where are you, Mr. Rich?
You guys are a great duo, by the way.
We have so much fun.
That's very
And good soundproofing between the rooms that you're next to.
Yeah.
So that so we don't get echo.
Yeah, it's quite a ways away, so that works every day. So I might see her, a couple times during the day. Okay, so
A lot.
I'm going to, well, if you come down to tools here, when you're on the site, there's the Agile Monte Carlo estimation, which has been around for a few years, and there are people that have been using that and love it. The funny story is that, and I'll open it up in a moment, there are some things about it that I wasn't thrilled about. And so I decided sometime last year, I must have been, nothing else to do in a pandemic. And so I created, and this really uses Monte Carlo estimation. And I decided I'd create an analytical model that would relieve some of the things I didn't like here. So I created a whole different one, and I just got rid of that and put this here. No sooner than like a day or two later, got an email coming through our SaveAwise site saying, "What have you done? I'm about to do PI planning and you've taken away my Monte Carlo estimation that I love and I count on." And so literally that came through like first thing in the morning. And in 15 minutes, and I told you I only play developer on TV, but in 15 minutes, I resurrected that and deployed it and made it available.
Nice. That's awesome.
So they will both be there forever now. Let's go through this one just because it's the one that's been around for quite a while. So the whole idea is we want to get an idea of how much work we think we can get done in a a certain number of sprints, whether you want to call that a PI or whatever. So if we come in here, first thing is what's the historical data type? And so let's say we're using velocity, number of sprints per PI. You don't have to be doing safe, but the language here and when you come in here and click on the question mark, you get, some help. But let's say, if you're using safe, that's typically like 6 sprints, but my teams in the last few years weren't using safe, but we were doing planning at the 6 or 8 week level. So I socialized the term PI just to kind of standardize it. So let's say we're doing, we'll just make it simple, 3 sprints per PI. And actually, let me check real quick here because I'm going to, I want to look at my file here. So don't pay any attention to what I'm doing here. Kind of look at something here, let this load. It's not what was supposed to show up. Oh, okay, never mind that then. We're just, you can import from a file. I'm using my work machine where I don't have, so you can import an Excel spreadsheet, but I'm just going to do manual data input. And so let's just say we have a total of 9 sprints of historical data. So it would be three sprint PIs. And so if I submit, then I get a data grid. Oops, don't do that. So I'm just going to start throwing in some numbers. Quite a spread here. This is not a very predictable team. Another 33. And if I get the results, then what I get is this basically tells you your level of confidence that in that PI that you'll be able to hit that number of the velocity for the whole, or if you divide by, in this case, by 3. So what it's basically saying is, okay, there's about a 50-50 chance, it's realistic that you're going to get 28 points that you plan on, and you're very, very confident you'll get to 20 because you pretty much always hit almost 20 or more. 37 would be really, unrealistic.
So Rich, let me ask you a question. I have a question about the verbiage where it says sprint and velocity. Velocity is the average. So what you really are saying is the number of points delivered, right? Versus each sprint. So each
is it that predictability?
Story points are not the average. They're an estimate.
Right, but it's based on historical. So I can't go to a JIRA report and I'm going to see a line That's the bar, which is averages over the course of my all the sprints. So I don't have velocity as a metric for each specific sprint, right?
Well, sure you do. Well, yeah, I mean, you should have a basically a bar chart that shows you for each sprint what you got. I mean, the line might show the average over the last however many sprints, but
that's your velocity. The line is your velocity.
no.
The
No,
number
that's
of
the
points
average.
delivered is the
No.
Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. That's and I'm
Yeah.
happy to.
So what we're saying is, okay, the teams. Yes, I understand what you're saying. This was the number of points delivered in a given sprint. The team's velocity is if it reaches a stable, fairly flat, then what is that? Right. So in other words, you would say this team doesn't really have a velocity because they're all over the place, right? And
they have a water level.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I would agree that maybe saying velocity isn't necessarily right there, but you get the point. I think, right? What this is really saying, and you could also use this at the PI level. Here's what I didn't like about this. This is why I created the other one that I'm going to show you in a moment. But first, let me come here and just say, this is kind of nice because it just shows you the results of the Monte Carlo simulation, which is basically taking these numbers and running 200,000 times randomly, taking these numbers 200,000 times 9, I believe. And that's how you see why there's like tens of thousands for each of these. And so it kind of shows you the distribution. And so it's kind of consistent here, right? That it should be somewhere around in the mid 80s for the PI level. This is for the PI velocity totals. What I didn't like about this was that a couple things I didn't like was that this didn't allow you to specify a feature velocity that you might want to look at the PI level, because after all, if you're talking about, especially if you're talking about a safe PI with 6 sprints, you're not going to be planning at that level to say, oh, well, I expect that I'm going to get so many story points done in each sprint, and then be able to know how much work you can pull in, because you don't have 6 sprints worth of backlog, most likely. In fact, probably nor should you, if that makes sense. So and the way I like to do PI planning is to say, we should have features sized, and I like to do features in feature points, the same way that, with Fibonacci numbers, but for feature points, and then determine what the team's feature velocity is per PI. So there I'm using the velocity term properly. And so let me just come here, and this was kind of what motivated the analytical model. And if you click the question mark here, it'll actually get you to a page here, which then also lets you get to yet another page on Google Drive, which will actually show you the analytical model that I came up with in all of its fun glory.
Nice.
I was a math geek back in the day, so so if you really want to know how that model came about. But what's different here is that the estimation type, it's either if you're doing a PI estimation, then you're doing feature points. And notice that I got rid of the term velocity. I'm doing it properly this time. So see another reason. So then the historical data input, again, we could do manual, and number of time boxes of historical data. So in other words, how many, the time box here is a PI. So let's say I've got 3 PIs here. So then I would say the number of feature points I got done in PI number 1 was 120. In PI 2, it was 85. And that's probably pretty high for feature points, but never mind. Hey, it's a big team. And then this was 93. And then I can get the results. Here I don't show a histogram, but it's the same idea here. What this is showing here is the probability of, how many feature points you could commit to. See, I've eliminated the velocity term here. So I think this is more in line with the correct terminology. So what's nice about this, and Paula's used this, I think in a prior company, haven't you, when you were doing SAFe, and you could, whether you're using SAFe or not, but especially if you're doing SAFe and you're making big commitments, it's like, hey, here's some modeling that says, if you really want us to commit here, the odds of it getting done isn't very good, right? And so the managers that are trying to be aggressive. Now, you might say, well, why are these all 94? This is the limitation of this model, is that if you don't have a decent amount of data, 3 is not really going to get you good results here. So you'd need to have like 5 or 6. So that's kind of the limit of this limitation on this model. But if I
Rich, I wouldn't say that's a limitation. It's, you only have so much data. So
well, yeah, but what I'm saying,
that's what I can give you, right?
Yeah.
Give you from here to, with more data, I can do this.
Yes, right. The model can only do based on what you've given it, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, thank you. Because I obviously kind of like the model since I created it. I'm partial to it. The one thing that the model also does, and I'll come in here with sprints, and you can do, here you could do story points or story count. Let's go to story count just to change it up. And again, I'll do the manual data input because I don't have anything handy. And so in this case, it's the number of sprints. Let's say I've got 8 sprints. Submit here. So the same kind of thing that we were doing before. And then when we get the results, and then this tells us what is the likelihood that we're going to hit this story count. Again, I've eliminated the term velocity. So I'm here with 8, with 8 historical data points, you can see that this is looking pretty good. And what I like about this, that I made the model such that this value here was always going to be a little bit less than the lowest value here, which makes sense. And this would always be a little bit higher than the largest value here, because you should have some tails there. So that's why I personally happen to like this one a little better. But some people have been using that Monte Carlo, and does that mean they have a fixed mindset? They don't want to, never mind. And by the way, you can also export the results to Excel on either of these 2 tools. And so it'll show you both the input information you put in as well as the results. So any questions on either of those tools?
Awesome that you have them out there. I know a lot of folks appreciate that analytical side of estimation. Yeah.
Yep.
I would be curious. I know it has nothing to do with Scrum. However, there are some certifications out there with Agile project management. I'm curious, you don't have to do this, but it would be interesting to do that comparison of what a product owner, Scrum Master, even if you want to do product manager and project manager, and see how some of that stuff might overlap.
Oh, so you're saying like if we were coming here and doing something like a Scrum roles?
Right. Yeah, I did revert back to Scrum roles. I've just, I know it's outside of of Scrum, but there are certifications that do have project manager. So it would be interesting to have that visibility to understand where kind of some things kind of lay. And this is just personal recent experience where, they wanted to do Agile project management training. And I was just seeing lots of overlap of what a Scrum Master or a product owner does. So I'm just throwing that out there it might be a good way to kind of create some visibility. Also might build a case of saying it either has a place or it doesn't have a place.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that, and I think Paula had to jump. But earlier this week, Paula came to me, a typical user, and she says to me, Rich, can you add a couple more roles here? I need it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing, varying this list, as you've seen, trivial, right? Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
But adding additional ones of this, well, shoot, you got to come up with an image, and I got to look at the different sizings, because like, watch this. Look, watch what happens. I make it smaller. Then
for sure.
They shrink, and look what happens. This tool just really is not mobile friendly, and so guess what happens? It says, sorry, this resolution doesn't work.
Yeah, it no longer exists. Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, Cards Against Agility. I'll show you this for fun, real quick. Since we have a couple minutes. I'll just do 3 here real quick. What you do is you start, and then there's a facilitator who would draw a black card, and what happens next, actually, I kind of got ahead of myself. I would copy this facilitator, I'd copy the link, and then I would send that link to each of the players. Since I'm rich, if I took that link, then I would come here and I would select my name, and here's my player. Here's what I do this as a player. And you can see here is that black card. And I would get all the possible responses. And then I would then select which response I thought best fit here. And these are just randomly generated from a bank of responses. And so they're not always going to be the right fit. But half the time you want to do something irreverent anyway, like, this is not cargo cult, it's a, hot cup of coffee. So you could, if you're a facilitator with a sense of humor, you might, because what happens is the facilitator comes in here, find my facilitator, hang on a sec here. Where did it go? It's, is it here? Yeah, as the facilitator, I then see the, responses. Oh, I didn't come in here. So if I said a hot cup of coffee, and imagine that everybody looked in their results, the facilitator, then once everybody has responded, what they do then is they'll choose the winning answer. And so I can click here, and you can see Rich just got a point. Normally these would be all full. So then, then you go to the next round. So all you do is draw the next black card, and then you're on to the second round. And so you're kind of keeping score. I've also allowed the facilitator, in case they want to be real fun and say, oh, there's a tie, I'm going to give you each a point. So the facilitator has absolute power. Or they could take a point away if someone's misbehaving. And it's funny because if you've played Cards Against Humanity, you know that the facilitator role rotates. And so in my backlog is a story to allow the facilitator to rotate. And
oh, that's nice.
That's probably a 13. So it's like, that's why I haven't tackled it.
Oh.
I know I can do it, but it's like, unless enough people play this to where I get a lot of requests, it's just not going to make it up to the top of my backlog. But here, the point I wanted to show you about this game, unlike the others, is this was an easy one to play on your mobile device. So actually, and it doesn't really do justice here, but it actually shrinks down to the size of your device. So what you do is you take your team for a happy hour or something, and I literally did this with some friends, actually. Wasn't a team. Actually, no, Paula did this with her team, I think, as well. So you can, You can literally play this at the bar.
Nice.
Yeah. So, okay, enough on the games. Like I said, I'm, I have a day job, but at the same time, I love input.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Rich and Paula, for presenting all this and sharing this information with us and the games. And
Yeah, it's great.
it really was. It was enjoyable, and appreciate all of you guys basically interacting and making this a lot of fun. So